honestly, I didn't appreciate that until I traveled other places that weren't great.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He
So
was in
we
Detroit,
blessed,
wasn't he?
man. We are truly blessed. I look at other people in different states and it's like, bruh. I mean, I could
Yeah.
do it because I've had to do it, but it's one thing to hear about the weather. It's another to get on a plane in the morning when it's snowing and then land in a different city that's 70 degrees. It's
Yeah.
like,
I feel that.
bruh,
I feel
like
that.
it makes no sense. We living in a great location. I've always kind of known the weather was good. I remember when I used to be grinding, and I used to be working weekends. And you look out and the sky's all clear and looks all amazing. You're like, man, like this is crazy. Like I got to go work while the weather looks like this. So I mean, to that extent, I've known the weather was good, but it really hit it home when I saw it in real time in the same day, getting on the flight and making that happen.
Yeah, they say Cali got the best weather. This weather out here in Texas, man, it was 80 degrees yesterday, and now it's like 30 degrees out here.
80 degrees now. Well, that's crazy.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
it's temporary though.
I think we like this for yeah, man. I think by Saturday. Oh no, I guess by Monday we're back up in the 60s.
It's weird though
So
because like you wouldn't expect that because we're pretty much along the same like longitude line.
yeah,
I think that's what it is, latitude line, whatever it
something.
is.
Yeah,
We're in the same thing,
yeah,
but like California's weather still works out better. So I'm confused. I got to investigate this more, but I definitely appreciate it. And I really appreciate like San Diego weather because San Diego weather is even better. Like the weather we get up here is cool. We appreciate it. LA weather is cool, but that San Diego weather is something else. It's always perfect in San Diego.
man. I was
Always
supposed to go
perfect.
out there. I was supposed to go out there at the end of 2020, but once they had all those restrictions and stuff, I was like, man, I might as well just chill for right now. Just hold off until they kind of, get off all the restrictions and everything. But how is it out there though? Like, are they still? You gotta like I heard they had like a outdoor mask man or indoor mask mandate or something like that. Texas is different. Like we never had any of this stuff.
Right.
So
So what's interesting is I think certain cities are more strict than other cities. So California in the whole strict. Los Angeles strict. San Diego not that much. I didn't really see San Diego be super crazy strict.
okay,
Um, so that was kind of cool, but it still wasn't like wide open like you go to some of these states. You go to some of these states and it's just like it's a free for all.
yeah, I
I
hear.
was in Arkansas, it was a free for all.
Oh
I went
yeah,
to Georgia during this whole thing, it was a free for all. Parts of Texas were a free for all.
oh, yeah,
California was
yeah,
never like that.
yeah. That's wild, man. That's why I
I
said
don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing though.
I don't know, man. I'm good out here in Texas, but hopefully, like I said, I think California is supposed to drop a lot of those mandates in the next couple weeks. So maybe I'll take a trip out there. 'Cause like I said, I had everything booked too, so I couldn't even get the money back for the flight. So
Oh, they wouldn't give you the money back? That's crazy.
yeah, I didn't get the money back for the flight. I think I only got like half of it back on the Airbnb. So
Did you ever catch COVID?
no, sir.
Well,
I
I
never
got
got
it.
tested though.
I got it and it was not as bad. It was just a big old vacation. I got COVID and the only reason I left is because my son um I went and I got a hotel in downtown LA and ate good food. I think
Oh,
I
you
might have
just
went to a
chilling.
football game. I might have went to a basketball game. I was just out there living, fam.
I
It
feel
was a
that.
vacation. I didn't die.
Yeah.
I still got a little bit of a cough though. It's really weird. I think it was all overblown. It was all political. And
Oh
the
yeah.
whole purpose of the pandemic was to get Donald Trump out of office. They needed
Oh yeah.
something to use against him to get him out of office because they couldn't use the economy to get him out. And obviously, Joe Biden isn't doing any better with the economy. He's just been
Not at
ruining the whole
all.
thing. This dude does not care if we make any money.
Yeah, not
Damn
at
you,
all.
Joe Biden. Crushing all my damn stocks, Joe Biden.
Yeah, I saw that too. Stocks and crypto.
He's just crushing it all. And then the tone flipped, and now it's like, oh, no need to not wear masks.
Oh
So
yeah, they slowly easing everybody out. slowly easing everybody out. But that was a game. I feel like, man, like 3 months from now, we're not even gonna be talking about COVID at
Right.
all.
Right. Especially with all this stuff going on in the world right now, COVID is gonna be a thing of the past.
That's the thing of the
We're
past.
gonna be over
Exactly,
here
exactly,
talking about China and Russia.
exactly. And I think that's another thing that they're doing too. Let's get focused on this. So, you know,
Yeah. So this is the Millionaire Talk Show. My name is Charles Oglesby, also known as Todd Millionaire, founder and director of the Todd Capital Investment Family. Man, I don't even really call it a club. Started out as a club, just helping people, doing something for free, and it just turned into a brand, which is the whole goal all along. So the goal was to discover your gift, refine your gift, and then give your gift away. We were able to work with a lot of really cool people that we still have really good relationships with, and just change the culture, which we've been doing and have been doing. And interestingly enough, the brother that's been on this show, he was on this show a long time ago, but he was also on Tweet Talk. And so we needed to bring him back on this show because this show is the business show. We're going to be talking about him and his insurance brokerage, which I think is really cool because it's an industry and a business that a lot of us could and should get into. And he didn't say, hey, I'm just going to go work for an insurance company. He started his own insurance company, which is super dope, super inspiring. He's been crushing it. He has just been continuing to just run it up and grow his business. And I think he's very happy with himself. I think he's very confident in what he's accomplished. And I think he's proud of doing it his own way, as opposed to just like being under somebody's thumb and listening to them tell him what he needs to do and what he has to wear and has to do his hair and all that stuff. And there's power in that. And that's kind of the power that we've been talking about this whole time. That's the whole point of everything that we do is empowerment. We're not out here trying to just do business for the sake of doing business. We're doing business because it's empowering. It's empowering to have an office that has your shit in it. It's empowering to make your hours. It's empowering to show up at 10 o'clock if you want to and work hard and still not be looked at crazy because you showed up 2 hours late. All that stuff is empowering. My name is Charles Oglesby. Thanks you all for tuning in. The purpose of this podcast is to share the stories of successful African-American business owners and investors so that people can hear the stories of successful examples because they do exist. If you did not know that this brother existed, you probably might think that nobody like him existed, but he does, and he is him. So welcome to the show, brother.
hey man, thank you so much for having me on back again. I think 2019 is when we did the first one. And I think you've been about 6-7 years strong on this podcast, huh?
Damn, you think so?
It got. I mean, it at least 2017, right?
2017. Hold on, 2017. Where was I? Yeah, sounds about right. That's 5 years.
Because I was listening to you. I started listening to you back in 2018. Or no. Maybe at the end of 2017.
No, it was around that time because I created this brand because I needed more income to because I got married and I've been married for about 5 years. Actually, I've been married for about 6 years. It'd be 6 years this year. And we moved in and I had a wife and she was like, my husband's supposed to be paying for all these things and doing all these things. And I'm just like, with what money?
Yeah.
And so I was like, I need to start a business to supplement my income. And that was about 5 years ago. And so one of the first things I did at that dining room table when we had our first apartment and I started recording the podcast, I put a cell phone on top of my MacBook Air and it started just talking to people. So yeah, it's been about 5 years, man. That's crazy. 5 years of podcasting and we still going. 5 years. That's half a decade.
Now you got a fly office.
Yeah, man. Now I got a fly office. And I'm trying to get a fly building. That's the real goal. Get a fly building, put Oglesby Holdings up there. So Dame Dash should be proud of me. He said, don't you wish your son's name was up there? It's like, it is up there. So now my son can go to school and they're like, oh, we drive past the Oglesby building all the time. I'm like, yeah,
exactly.
That's what we're about, man. The Oglesby building. So 5 years. But to give you guys some backstory for those who don't know, this brother hated me. He was like, F Charles. This dude does not know what he's talking about. He's always talking about this entrepreneurship stuff. Tell him to shut up because I don't know. And but we made a shift and we've been cool ever since.
Yeah. So we never like I said, so back in this had to be back late 2017. It had to be late 2017 or maybe even all of 2017 when I first started seeing, I forgot who it was. I don't even think I'm cool with the guy no more, but he kept retweeting you on Twitter. Like I said, man, my mindset was so different. So I really wasn't trying to hear what you was talking about. And then, just being a guy that's open-minded, kind of just pretty much just gave in to, at the time, entrepreneurship was, I mean, even still now, is pretty popular. Financial literacy, at that time and even now for people, is pretty popular. So I ended up going from I'm not gonna say I hated you, but from not liking what you were talking about to you ended up becoming an inspiration, and I'm at where I'm at today by listening to your podcast and, your guests and stuff. So, it's crazy. It's crazy how that works.
So you have your own insurance business, brokerage, you sell life insurance, health insurance, and there's a lot that we can talk about, but how did you get interested in even going that route?
So let me see. So back in 2018, I was working commissary for like a restaurant. So I would make sure like all the food they were selling was sellable, for customers and stuff. And I started listening to your podcast. You always ask the guests, what's their favorite business book? They would say, most people at that time were saying like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I went and read that book. I started listening to Nipsey Hussle, started following different people on Twitter. And I ended up getting into, first I was helping people with their credit. And it was a young lady I was kind of talking to at the time. And she was telling me about insurance. And I was like, at that time, I was like, man, you know what? They say that a millionaire has 7 streams of income. So I need to, jump into all the industries that I can, so I can start making some good money. And I got recruited by a network marketing company to sell insurance. And I kind of just sat back and realized like what it was, as far as like all the recruiting stuff. And I was selling insurance. I was just like, man, you know what? I want to sell insurance. I want to do it my own way. I didn't want to follow their system. So, 2019, I pretty much jumped out on my own. Although I was kind of still looking at insurance as like a somewhat of a side hustle because I was trying to do other stuff. And even on the first podcast that we did, I'm pretty sure I was talking about wholesaling, which I don't do that anymore. But 2020, I just talked to myself and I was like, man, if you want to go far, you probably should just pick one thing and just, become an expert at that. And I was like, man, I just want to do this insurance thing because I saw the power of it. And I saw not a lot of people in our community, were talking about it. So I was like, man, I need to, basically just fulfill this spot, and bring in, education, back to the community, in this industry. That's what I've pretty much been doing ever since.
Insurance is kind of a complicated industry. They have all these different products. How did you get good at understanding what was what?
So that's a good question. And what I did was pretty much just focused on 1 or 2 lanes inside the insurance industry because you can do so much like auto, car, home, life, health, But since I was already, talking about financial literacy, I was already getting around people who were, doing other things, in entrepreneurship. So I was like, man, let me just study like life, and life really it's really not that complicated. It's like I said, it's not that, life insurance, some have extra features, but it's not, it's not that hard to, comprehend what's going on and, help people out with that stuff. But yeah, like I said, I ended up just focusing on life and health. I pretty much, in my opinion, it goes hand in hand. And like I said, with us on social media, on, I guess, LLC, Twitter, whatever they want to call it. Like I said, I didn't see anybody out there talking about life insurance, or if they weren't going too deep into it. So like I said, I saw that opportunity and I basically just took it and ran with it.
A brokerage, like when you start your own brokerage, do you have to go through a larger brokerage? You have to take a new exam. What's the process for getting that?
All you have to do is get a corporate license. It's not really nothing hard. As long as you have a personal license, you just apply for a corporate one.
Really?
Pay for
you don't have to be
insurance.
Backed by like another company?
Not all the time. It does help. Especially if you're trying to partner with different companies, but no, you don't, you really don't have to.
So you get your license, you get your life insurance license, and then you have to get a what license? A corporate license?
Yeah, corporate license. So basically you go personal agent, getting a license, you go get an LLC. And then once you get that LLC, you get you basically get E&O insurance that covers the whole agency and not just yourself. And then you go apply for a corporate license. And then instead of it saying, Brandon Thomas is licensed in Texas, it'll say Brandon Thomas Insurance is licensed in Texas. And that way, when you start hiring or recruiting other agents under you, everybody's pretty much, as long as they have that license, they're, licensed under you in Texas or whatever state,
What's interesting is a lot of people might not know this. I don't think we talked about this before, but some of the first Black millionaires and very successful Black people own life insurance companies because it's a fantastic business. Now,
Yeah.
I think owning a life insurance company and necessarily selling life insurance are maybe two different things, because when you own the company and you actually are the insurance company insuring the life, that means you just you're bringing in all the premiums and you're keeping them in house.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas what you do is a little bit different. That's kind of interesting. How do you become a life insurance company? That's got to be way different requirements.
Honestly, man, I really don't know. But I feel like you definitely have to have your money up, though. I tell you that.
Yeah.
That's one thing I can think of. You have to have your money up. But I really don't know. And I really don't know if any like newcomers in that part of the industry. I know for me, myself, I pretty much, all the companies I work with have, been around since either the late 1800s or early 1900s, that way people are, trusting, who they're putting, their faith into to, pay out those premiums and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I don't know how people go about actually doing that. And honestly, I mean, that's really never been one of my goals. I just like, the middleman service. It's a lot of money in being a middleman if you know what you're doing.
Yeah. So speaking of being a middleman, you get your license, you get your corporate license, and then you have to sign up with different companies, right?
Yes. Well, I mean, at that point, it's basically upon your discretion how many companies you sign up with, what you want to sell. But yeah, after you get that license, it's time to get appointed. So if you're selling, I don't know, burial insurance, you probably want to get with companies that have good policies for people that are, 50 and up. If you're just selling, term or, other types of permanent insurance, just make sure you're with companies that provide, term, permanent. I would also get with multiple companies. That way, you can show your clients like options and stuff like that.
Right,
so
right. You want to give them, instead of just saying this is all I got, it's like we can pick between this and this.
Exactly. That's what separates you from somebody that works at like State Farm or Allstate, Progressive, whatever. They're only going to show you what Progressive has to offer versus me. I can basically put in people's, date of birth, your gender, how much insurance do you want? Okay, I got these 10 companies right here. This one will give you the cheapest one. This one has more benefits, pretty much whatever. You giving people options at that point.
In terms of building up your clientele base, how did you go about that?
Man, that's a good question. So I definitely didn't have any money. And at that point, when I left the network marketing insurance company, I didn't have any mentors to show me like what to do. So I pretty much was out there just, throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. So at first, man, I would get on Facebook, and I basically, if me and somebody had more than 10 mutual friends, I would add them as a friend on Facebook, and I would send them like an unsolicited message. So I'm basically, maxing out my Facebook friends. I think it's like 5,000 or 6,000, and I'm sending like 20 messages every day, cold messaging people. Some people are, cussing me out, blocking me. Of course, a lot of people are not going to respond, but I did have a few people, that ended up actually responding, that ended up becoming my first clients. So messaging people on Facebook, posting a lot of stuff on social media, posting just a lot of, information, stuff like, what do life insurance companies look at, when you're in the process of getting accepted or declined, or, just information like that. And I ended up getting like a lot of, clients just off of that, doing that on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. But then once I got my money up, I started investing in, Google ads, SEO, um, strategic partnerships, referral partners, different stuff like that. So, but when I was broke, it's pretty much, I guess you could call it online door knocking, just sending people random messages and stuff like that. But man, I was hungry. Like looking back, it's probably not the best thing to do. But at that time, man, like I said, I didn't know what else to do. I even tried door knocking too, just trying to put myself out there.
Do you think that it's better to approach it on social media or approach it like in real life?
Man, both. I feel like you have to have an online and an offline presence. In the insurance industry, like you definitely want to be known in your local community, especially like on the like life, especially health side, where there's not like a lot of competition, like in the health insurance industry. I would definitely like local, going to different, not even just business events, but just community events. Um, and like I said, online, just sharing like a lot of information about your industry, um, giving people pointers, stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah. Um, how much money should somebody expect to make in their first year? Like, what did that first year look like for you in terms of like getting out there and making it rain?
My first year, I made a little bit over 20,000. So, which is, honestly, man, at first, like, I'm not gonna say I was disappointed, but I'm just like, man, like, how many people actually go out and make over $20,000 in a first business? A lot of people
First
don't
year,
even
yeah.
make it. A lot of people don't even make it to year 3 in business. So, but yeah, and like I said, it was pretty much, I really wasn't paying for any type of marketing at that point too. Everything was free. Like I said, a lot of social media, joining different. I know I'm in Austin, so they had a group called Black Men in Austin that I joined. I don't know if you've ever heard of BNI.
Yep.
Yeah, I joined the BNI chapter. Matter of fact, I got my insurance license October of 2018, and then I got into BNI December of 2018. So I didn't even really know much about the industry. I was just like, man, I just got to put myself out there. So I ended up joining. I didn't know anything about it. They just told me, hey, this is a exclusive business group, and you should join it. So I was like, man, all right, bet. Hey, here's $600. Let me join it. I don't think I got any type of business from that either. But put myself out there though.
How much of your job is actually sales, and how much is it just serving people who already found you and want to work with you? Like, do you actually have to sell them on the insurance policy?
Honestly, man, I pretty much put myself in a position to where, like I said, as far as paid advertising goes, I only put money into SEO or Google. So by the time people reach out to me, they pretty much already know what they want. They just looking for the right price, or
Right.
maybe they have a question that you need to answer. You need to clear something up. But as far as like actually like being like a corny salesman, having to talk somebody into something, I don't do that. I don't cold call people. So it's really none of that. Um, I get like a lot of business from referrals. So like I said, by the time people come to me, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, their interest level is definitely like at the least a 6.
Okay. So now that you've been an entrepreneur for a good amount of time, could you ever see yourself going and getting a job?
Um, no, I could not do that. I'm pretty much too. I think I'm too. Well, not even I think, but I'm too far in the game. So it's like, even like I'll wake up some mornings, I'll take a bad L or something, and I'm like, dang man, like, do I really want to continue to do this? Well, sometimes I can wake up just tired, like, man, dang, like sometimes I do miss like somebody telling me, hey bro, you just show up you come in at 10, you can leave at 4 or something like that, and I do miss it, but then I'm just like, man, you know what? I'm too far deep in the game. I don't have anything else to go back to. So like I said, I really pretty much put myself in a position to where I don't have a choice but to make this work.
Yeah. Yeah. What is something you could do to make your business grow like 10x to the point to where you have like staff and people working for you and you growing it out like that?
Well, I mean, I pretty much, I mean, I got that like online. As far as like having like a brick and mortar business, I don't know if I really want to do that.
Right.
I thought about it because I'm just like, man, I don't see myself leaving Austin. And I know the commercial rents out here are high. So I'm just like, man, why would I want to put that on a building when I can just put that towards marketing? I pretty much I got everything I need. I got people that I need to give me a VA. I guess that's my last step. I need a VA to handle some of my business, but my marketing stuff, I don't really too much don't touch. I got leads that I handle myself, but I got downline agents too that pretty much do their own thing. So like I said, the brick and mortar stuff, I just don't. If I did do brick and mortar, it'd simply be because I would want people to see, hey, here's my name on this building right here. So it'd be more of a like, I guess showing out like, hey, I did this,
Interesting. Very interesting. Man, what would you say is like a myth about life insurance?
A myth. Some people don't believe that life insurance companies pay out. Like, and I guess, from their perspective, I guess I kind of see where they're coming from. Because some people are, matter of fact, a situation that just happened recently. So it wasn't my client, but it was one of my friends' cousins. He got a policy out in November 2021. He ended up dying this month. He had $1 million life insurance policy. Right. So, and they called me like, hey man, like, are they really going to pay out? Like, is this really like, because they only paid like what, 2 or 3 months of worth of premiums. Premiums are probably not even $100, but he got that whole $1 million. So, I mean, as long as you're honest on life insurance applications, as long as you don't try to rob a bank, or as long as you don't commit suicide, I mean, they're going to pay out. So I know some people think that when you're paying premiums, for example, like some people think, let's say your policy is $100,000. People think that they pay premiums into the $100,000. So they actually have to put $100,000 into the policy before they pay out. So that's one myth. That's not true. Your policy can go into effect on Friday. God forbid something happens to you on Monday. As long as you didn't, die from one of these reasons that are excluded in the policy, they're gonna pay out.
Yeah. A lot of people don't like talking about life insurance because they feel like they're talking about death. How do you get over that?
Honestly, man, that's a good question. And what I really do is I talk about their children and what the money can do for their children. So I don't the only time I really talk about as far as death is if I'm talking to older people, which older people are, I mean, they're pretty much comfortable with it. So if I'm selling like a burial insurance policy, of course, I have to tell them, hey, this is going to cover, all your burial, fees. Family doesn't have to really worry about anything. But, if I'm talking to you, we're getting $1 million policy. I'm not talking to you about death. I'm talking to you about, hey, if something happens to you, your peoples are going to be taken care of with this $1 million. You know what I'm saying? They can do X, Y, Z, with this millions of dollars. So I kind of just take the thought away from death. Because I mean, when you talk about life insurance, like you said, that it's going to pop up in your mind. You know what I'm saying? I just try to like lead from that to what can actually be done, with those funds.
Yeah. Circling back to compensation, how much of your book of business is the trailing, like the recurring money versus the new money that you bring in?
Man, that's a good question. I would say now, and it's pretty much different on the health and life side, but I would say all around, and I just finished doing my taxes. So it seems like it's still more new business, but for example, this year, it'll probably pretty much even out as far as the renewals go.
Like 50-50.
I would say maybe like 60-40, 60-40 new business, 40% just renewal. But I'll definitely, like I said on Twitter the other day, I'll definitely make over $20,000 this year just off of renewals. So if I was comfortable and I was just like, man, you know what, I'm just gonna chill at the crib and make $20,000 this year. I don't know, watch Power and play Madden all day. I could do that. But
that's actually really cool if you think about it. It becomes like a permanent source of income.
Yep. Yep.
Um, have you had any mentors that have helped coach you through what you're doing right now?
Oh, hell yeah, man. So like I said, after I left the network marketing insurance, I pretty much was just on my own loan shark from about beginning of 2019 until maybe the end of 2020. And then I don't remember how it happened. Somebody added me to this Facebook group for insurance agents worldwide. And I just made a post in this group. I was like, hey man, I'm a new agent out here. I would love, to get mentored. And people started reaching out to me, like sending me messages. And my best buddy, man, his name is Joe Camper. He owns multiple agencies, and he's like a year older than me. He reached out to me. He was like, hey man, I'm gonna take you out to lunch, bro. So not only did this guy, well, I told him I was gonna take him out to lunch. So not only did he ended up paying for it, he also sent me 2 leads, and I ended up making about $3,000 off of them. And they're still my clients till this day. They refer me to other people. So he's pretty much just been teaching me everything. I've been able to get with his mentor. And I paid, 4 figures for like mastermind stuff like that. So yeah, now, like I said, I'm getting, people that are, 7, 8 figures in the insurance industry, teaching me what to do. And now I'm at a point to where I just, dropped a course teaching other people how I do what I do. So, and I know you've been telling me about that for a while, and I kind of just, I guess, procrastinated a little bit, but now I got that, and it's really nice. So I'm still adding content to that,
Yeah.
pretty often.
Have you been getting some people to buy into what you have going on?
I have a couple.
I like
Yeah.
it. I like it.
And I've had people send me, I'm sorry, I've had people send me DMs too. People send you DMs like, hey man, I'm really interested. But they're looking for something for free. And it's like, all right, bro, I'm not about to waste my time with you.
Yeah.
This is insurance. I'm selling a course for $147. You can make double that off of one life insurance policy. So I'm not about to waste my time. If you want to lose, you can lose. So.
Yep. But I think what's cool is what's interesting is when I proposed that wasn't even the idea that I had. I was like, I don't know if he wants to give up all that game. I was just like general life insurance information, the difference between whole life, universal life, the difference between term insurance, what all those different things mean, just really breaking down the definitions. But what's cool is you can still do that. So like that's the beauty of digital products is you should do that, because to a certain extent, what happens is the information and the education that you're giving to somebody is actually educating your potential customer. So you go through and you explain all the stuff, you get compensated to teach people what you would be doing for free in the first place. And then they want to book that meeting with you. And so they want to say, hey, I actually want to get a policy. Or they go the other way. It's like, hey, I actually want to start my own company. So
Exactly.
What you're doing is great. We got to figure out a way for me to get that into the Freedom Packer. Some way we can create a partnership, even if I got to sell it for $300 and we split it 50-50.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can I need to figure out how to do. I think I need to go to Gumroad and set up affiliates, man. Like I said, I'm still new to this. But yeah, man, I pretty much give everything that I do. I pretty much give all the game. And I feel like I should be selling that for way more than $147.
Yeah.
But
people got the money, fam. These folks ain't broke. They just act broke.
Exactly.
What is one thing that your business that you didn't expect?
One thing about business that I did not expect.
The insurance business, your business.
Man, what's one thing I did not expect? Well, coming into it, I did not expect chargebacks. So chargebacks, I don't in the insurance industry, basically, like if you sell a life insurance policy, they advance you for a whole year worth of premiums. So if you have a client that stops paying their premiums or cancels their policy within that first year, then they're going to want to recoup that money. So that's one thing that I wasn't at first I wasn't expecting, but now I've become accustomed to it. It happens. But let me see, one thing I did not expect. I definitely didn't expect for my business to grow like this. Because like I said, when I first started selling it, I looked at it more of like a like a side hustle. So I went from maybe selling like, 2, 4 policies a month to now, doing 30, 35 policies a month, and even upwards of that, during the open enrollment seasons. So it's that's definitely, like I said, I've become accustomed to it now, but at the beginning that wasn't the plan at all.
Interesting. Um, what it maybe was a challenge that you weren't expecting that you experienced when you're getting into the industry?
A challenge, man, pretty much just dealing with people. Dealing with people is a big challenge, man. So, in this industry, they say that the money is in the follow up. So, sometimes, I could talk to somebody on the phone, and it could be like a one call close. Other people, I can chase them down for like 2 years, or, I could have people, we could do their application, and I might need them to take a medical exam. And then when they stop responding to you, at that point, or, life insurance company might need some information, and you've consulted with these people for free, you've done the application with them, and then they just kind of just leave you out, out to dry. They just stop replying to you. So that stuff right there is stuff that I really don't expect, especially when people like reach out to you first. And it's like, well, hey, I actually need this life insurance. And you do great customer service and they still leave you hanging. But even that too, I've become accustomed to that too. Yeah. It's weird, but it happens.
It's funny because I didn't want to be that guy. I was like, man, if I hit him up, I want to make sure that I close the loop on the project. So glad I'm not one of those people.
Yeah,
for those that don't know, Brandon has given me 2 life insurance policies. The first was a $500,000 policy, which was a really good policy. And the second was the $1 million policy, which is the new policy that we put to replace that $500,000 million policy. Super easy process. I want to say, I think it didn't require much of anything. We had a phone call conversation. It might have been on Zoom. We went over everything. You told me the numbers. And then I had to like sign something. And then we had the lady come out. The lady came to the house. She like took blood. She made me pee in a cup. I always have a hard time doing the pee in the cup thing. And like a few days, I had a whole new policy. I just had to sign docs on DocuSign. So super straightforward process, y'all. It's easy. You really have it's easy and it's also inexpensive.
Yeah. Well, you were good. You were good because so you've been losing some weight. So I think the quote that I gave you at first was like $80 or something like that. Yeah. But then it dropped to 50.
Which is crazy because a lot of people wouldn't think that they could do something like that. A lot of people are like, oh, $1 million, that's blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But I mean, part of that might be the fact that $1 million is different than it used to be back in the day. It's $1 million,
but I mean, for young people, it can still be inexpensive for younger people, 20s, 30s. Yeah. And then also, like I said, if you're in good health too, the better your health, and it's really, honestly, I don't really know if I can say health, but it's more just your height compared to your weight. So on their chart, if you're smaller based off of that, or in good health based off of that, then they drop premiums. Yeah. So
that's interesting. A lot of people think that like Black people not having insurance is a big thing. Do you think that's a thing? Like statistically, does it show that?
So statistically, I can't really talk on statistics, but I will say now, I think that there has been a shift in the community. People, even my family members are coming to me. And some of them are, it's been quiet, but they'll tell me, hey, I've been having this policy, I got policies on, this, that, and the third. But it's like growing up, they really don't talk about it. I think my dad was the only person that actually sat me and my siblings down when I think I was a freshman in high school, and he was getting his medical exam, and he sat us down and he was like, yeah, I'm getting life insurance, y'all need to get this too. This is why it's important. You know what I'm saying? So I do see a shift in the community, but I'm still, working to change that, because I'm also still seeing like a lot of like GoFundMe stuff too. So just trying to play my part to, eradicate all of that.
That GoFundMe stuff is crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
that's definitely not guaranteed either.
yeah, it's not a good look, right? It's not guaranteed. You
Nope.
gotta hope folks decide to fund you.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're like, I don't want to be rude, but if you're a nobody, or like, for example, if you're a dude, unless you get killed by the police or something, you're probably not gonna get the money. Like maybe if you're like a little girl, people feel the sympathy. But if you're a grown person, you probably
Right,
you're probably not gonna see that. You
right,
know.
right. They're gonna end up
So
having to sell dinners for you or do a car wash. Don't
car
make your
wash.
family do a car wash for you, fam. Your
Yep.
family should be better off, not worse off. Not out here
Yep.
trying to figure out what they're going to do. And it doesn't take that much money. It really doesn't. And what I think what's really important is you just work it into your budget, but you also learn how to increase your income around things that are necessary. So, like I said, it's very inexpensive. So it's like $100 a month. Let's say you get $100 a month. Like, what can you do to make an extra $100 a month? You can rent your car out on Turo. You can drive Uber for one day.
Oh,
You can do
yep.
whatever. And what you're doing to get out of that hole doesn't mean that you're going to always have to do that. I was talking to
Exactly.
my mom and I was like, man, I have so many really cool things now. But it started out driving DoorDash. It started out doing working weekends in a restaurant. It started out
Yep.
working bullshit jobs that, in my opinion, underpaid me. And I was thinking, I was like, is there another way to make it, or is that the way to make it? Because if I had to start all over, I would do exactly that again.
Yep.
And
Yeah, I feel
so the
that.
things that you're doing to get you into a good space are not going to always be the things you have to do to once you get good. So do the things you got to do, fam. So folks don't got to be out here embarrassed, because that's embarrassing, man. Nobody
It
wants to have to put up
is.
a GoFundMe. That's like a sign
Exactly.
that says we broke.
We broke.
You got your
Yeah.
whole family on the internet
Yeah.
telling everybody they broke.
Yep.
Like, come on,
Yep.
man. Don't do that
Yep.
to your man.
Yeah. And speaking of what you just said, man, as far as, basically just start from the bottom, I was listening to your podcast doing Uber. Every morning I'm doing Uber. So this is before, like I said, this was before I actually was selling, I'm making a lot of money in insurance. Like I said, I was only making or selling, maybe four policies a month. So I'm doing Uber in my other free time, just to make a living. But, now I don't have to do that no more. So, but yeah, man,
Now you don't have to
it
do it,
is
but
embarrassing.
we live in the best time to be making money, man. Because
Yeah.
if we were in other times, you know what you have to do? You literally have, the only way you can get customers is making phone calls and knocking on doors.
Yep.
These days you can literally just talk about what you know and people will come to you.
Yep.
You don't got to
That's it.
slide in the DMs on them. You don't got to be harassing them, because you never really know who wants what you know. You never really know
Exactly.
who wants to work with you. So it's like you over here knocking. I used to do this. You over here knocking on doors of people who don't like you, when you could just put out bait, and the people who want to work with you want to work with you. It's
Yep.
a way better way to go about business,
Exactly.
because getting insulted and getting laughed at or getting told no can really hurt your spirit, y'all. And then you over here with the potential good opportunity that you just quit on because you had to do it the old school way. So that's
Yep.
one thing I like about you, is you built your business the way that makes sense in today's times. It also gives us an advantage, because nobody does social media as good as we do social media. One of the things that I like that you do is your Twitter name is actually your business name. Like, you own it. And it's not like some random name.
Yep.
Why?
So when I first got on Twitter, man, or when I first got on LLC side of Twitter, I had my old Twitter handle and I had my old Twitter name, and I actually had this guy reach out to me, um, and it was unsolicited advice. And when he sent me the message, I kind of was like, man, ain't nobody ask you this, but I kind of just sat back and was like, man, this dude's probably right. But he basically just said, he was like, hey, man, if I were you, I would change my name, because I wouldn't do any business with you. So, and like I said at the time, I was like, man, bro, I didn't ask, who are you? You know what I'm saying? But as I got mature, I was like, you know what? Okay, this guy's right. I'm a businessman now, and I should, act as such, or, just, stick to that. So, like I said, I changed it because, I mean, Twitter pretty much, even though I don't talk about, business all day, different topics come up, I still wanted Twitter to know, hey, this is what I do. Um, I don't want it to be and people listen to this too. Like, if you're selling something on the internet, people should know what you do. It shouldn't be a question. Like, for example, if you got with a group of people on Twitter and you say, yeah, that insurance guy, I bet you somebody in there is going to be like, oh, okay, hey, yeah, I might not know him, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
So that's my goal. I want to be that insurance guy, or even if you talk about insurance adjusting right now, who you think about? You think about Steph. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I wanted to do.
I like it. I like it for a few reasons. People should know what you do without you having to tell them. But what's really cool is you're constantly marketing just because that's your name. So even if you're not even talking about insurance, you're still marketing if you pop up and they see your name. And another thing is a lot of people, they won't do that because what they'll say is, oh, well, I'm on Twitter. Twitter, I might be talking about something that might not be business related. It might not be professional, but you got to realize like your customers are people too.
Exactly.
And so like your customers ain't just always talking about professional stuff all the time too. So you have permission to just be yourself, fam.
Be yourself, yeah.
Be yourself.
Especially on Twitter.
Be a human being, especially on Twitter. And you're kind of killing two birds with one stone. You're showing them that you're a human being. So they're going to want to work with you because they're human beings. Exactly. And then you're always marketing, even if you're not marketing. And so I think that is so powerful because a lot of people like old world thinking. And I think that as entrepreneurs, we have to think different and we can't think like employees. Today I got a phone call from my electrician who's going to be doing some stuff in the house we're renovating. And I was like brushing my teeth while he was talking on the phone. But I knew that if I missed that phone call, it would just throw the whole day back. And so I was thinking, I was like, if I had a job, I can never talk to somebody on the phone while I'm brushing my teeth. But in business, I can do what I got to do to get the job done. And so he knows he's calling somebody in California who's like getting the start of their day. They're on the East Coast time. You calling me at 7:00 in the morning. Like you actually probably appreciate that I'm actually talking to you right now. And so like, that's when I tell people like business is liberating. Entrepreneurship is liberating. The money's just a byproduct of the freedom. The real win is being able to be yourself. The real win is not walking into a space where you're having to put somebody else on a pedestal. My mom was talking about how she's experienced this thing where she's doing now that she's an entrepreneur, she still kind of steps into the corporate world of the consulting. So she's not an employer, she's a consulting and she's getting paid double what she'd be getting paid. And she's realized like at these firms, they groom people for partner. So they'll take a little white dude and they say, hey, we want you to be a partner. They're going to teach you all these things. We're going to show you these things. We're going to bring in other people to prepare you. And she's like, they're taking my work and using it to kind of help make him partner, but they didn't do that for me. And I was like, you can't really expect them to do that for you.
Exactly.
As crazy as it sounds, I don't like it. I think it should be fair and equal and all this stuff. But I just
don't work like that.
What it is. And so it's like being able to step out of that bullshit is empowering, because imagine if your only source of income was that, and you got folks over here just putting other people on and making you struggle. And like I was saying, if you're in that situation and you lack the abilities, it becomes we're not promoting because you lack the abilities. But somebody else over here, it's like you lack the abilities. So let's coach you so that you can get those abilities, so then you can be here.
Exactly.
And I've experienced it, and I know
me too. Me too, man.
I don't want to live that life, man. I got a child, man. Shout out to kids. Shout out to my son. So. Yeah, man, it's the freedom, it's the liberation that comes with it, not all that other nonsense.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I definitely agree with that. From going to, waking up and being on somebody else's time to, I mean, it's still hard work on the entrepreneurial side too. I mean, you still want to show up on time, but the difference is you showing up for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And for, your character and how you're presented versus, for somebody else. So as you work harder because now it's your name is on the line, not somebody else's name or somebody else's company. So, entrepreneurship just made me, I've always had good work ethic, but it just made me just, kind of just really just go OT. Yeah. Because now like my name is literally on the business, you know what I'm saying? So everything is pretty much riding on me.
Yeah. It's a different kind of work ethic, and it's also results driven.
Yeah.
Where sometimes if you're working a job, the income is associated with the hours on the job. So if you get the results or you don't get the results, it don't matter. But when you're an entrepreneur, you only win if it's results. And that's one of the things I have to tell my peeps all the time. But I'm learning that you might not be able to even manage people like that. You might still have to manage by the numbers. So I'm just delegating you these tasks in this specific quantity, expecting for the result to come. I won't even necessarily make you responsible for the result because people don't like that. I told an employee that their job is related to the results. They got pissed off and quit. They're like, results? That's not my job to do results. My job is to just give you hours. And I was like, I don't want your hours, fam. I can't eat your hours. My son cannot eat. You just give me hours. So we're learning. We don't know everything about entrepreneurship. I don't know everything about entrepreneurship, but it's a worthy thing to learn. Before we start wrapping up, I got some questions that I'm going to just kind of fire off. You can answer them quickly. Okay. What is one thing about your job or your business that no one or almost no one agrees with you about?
Man, I don't.
Tough question.
That is a tough question. That nobody, you said nobody agrees with me about?
Yeah.
Man, I'm trying to think of something like controversial that I've said on Twitter related to business. Because I mean, those they do pop up from time to time.
You had a tweet that I disagreed with recently. I think it was about women paying for shit.
Oh, I know. Okay, I reworded that. We got to talk about that on Tweet Talk though. I worded that tweet badly. I should have used different words.
Well, we live in different states also.
Yeah, that's
cost
true.
of living in Texas and cost of living in California is two different things.
Yeah.
So in California, hypothetically, let's say a dude makes 40 grand, right? 40 grand ain't getting you shit in California. Yeah, why? Because a one bedroom apartment costs you $1,800.
Damn.
And so in Texas, if that same dude makes 40 or maybe even 60 grand, because what happens a lot of times in Texas is they even pay you more. Yeah. So they pay you more and the cost of living is less. So if this dude's making 60 grand to do the same thing somebody in California would make 40 grand, his rent is $1,000 and he does not pay the rent. That's some bullshit. But like in California, it's not the case. And so I think that sometimes on Twitter, we got to qualify stuff. You got to say, I think men in Texas should pay all the bills. Men in California, y'all can go 50-50. Or y'all can work out an agreement where she helps you out. Not because you're any less of a man, but because it's expensive as fuck. But think about it. We're over here. Think about this. What if I were to tell you, you know what? I think all men should wear coats today. And you out there where it's 30 degrees, and I'm out here where it's 80 degrees. That's how we make it. That's how people make statements on Twitter. It's like, a real man ain't gonna wear a coat outside. Bro, it's 80 degrees. You go outside right now, and what's gonna happen? You're gonna freeze to death.
I'm gonna freeze to death, yeah.
And that's how we make statements on Twitter. It's just a blanket statement that everybody's supposed to expect, despite the fact that we all live in different climates and different environments with different circumstances.
Yeah.
And then you got people pissed off because they're like, well, you ain't a man because you got a jacket on. I'm like, bro, it's 30 degrees out here. Why shouldn't I have a jacket on? And now we arguing about a damn jacket, not arguing about the actual specific circumstances. Yeah.
No, you're right. But yeah, I think the tweet was, if you want your wife to, I said the word maid, and that's the word that I should use a different word. But I think I basically said, if you want your wife to be like, dudes expect their wife to be a maid and then bring in 50%. But I didn't mean like maid just cleaning up after you. I meant like the main caretaker of a child, you know, doing other duties that I as a man either don't have time to do or don't feel like is worth my time. You know, I'm not talking about cooking and cleaning either. That's all genders, I feel like. But
I feel like that is a large part, a result of like this celebrity housewife TV show culture that we've created. Because I would argue, and prove me now in this, I don't think Black women have ever been stay-at-home moms.
Not in the 50s or 60s?
Not in the 50s and 60s. What were they doing in the 50s and 60s?
They was staying at home?
They was working, fam. It was working.
Oh, I'm a 90s baby.
It was working. Honestly, I think my grandma didn't work. My grandfather was in the military, different lifestyle.
Yeah.
But I really feel like for the most part, women were working. I don't know, fam. I don't know if historically Black women are just staying at home. I know when we were slaves, they was out there slaving too.
Yeah. That's true.
So, a lot of folks are moms who work 2-3 jobs. And so I just don't know that that's ever really been a part of our culture. I think that's something I admire in other cultures, but America is different from different people. Yeah. So we can't say like, I just want to do what white folks do because I deserve to do what white folks do because I'm an American, they're in America too. So therefore we get that. But we don't own the systems that allow for that to happen. We ain't grooming folks to be partner.
Yeah.
Maybe if I was grooming folks to be partner, then his wife could not work. Different opinion. I don't want to beat this down.
Yeah.
I'm just talking. Just talking, man. Difference of opinion. You live in Texas, man. You should be doing all that cool, nice stuff for your ladies. Speaking of the ladies, how's that working out for you, fam?
Man, I'm still young, but I'm 26, man. I'm not even thinking about none of that.
26, but you don't got like a long-term girl, nothing like that?
No, bro. I'm out here. Like I said, man, I'm just pretty much just focused on business. I go out from time to time. Have some lady friends go out from time to time, but
all right.
I'm not getting caught up in nothing. I'm just trying to put myself in a position to where, like I said, I'm not trying to like put my cape on and pay like 100% to where a woman ain't got to do nothing. But I definitely want to put myself in a position to where, you know, I'm just making like a lot of money. It's really
right.
nothing. It's really nothing to it. So,
right.
But like I said, man, I make enough money right now for me to take care of myself, pay personal bills, pay all my business overhead, you know, so I have money to do stuff that I want to do. But like I said, man, I'm young. I haven't even hit my prime yet. So I'm just trying to boss up and level up, get ready for that prom. And then whenever I get that, then I'll start, you know, thinking about, you know, settling down and stuff like that. But right now, man, I'm what Future say? I'm for the streets.
So, all right. 26, you just bought a Lexus.
Oh yeah.
Drop top.
Yeah.
What did that do for you mentally? How does that feel?
Man, it just told me to go harder, man. Every time I look at that car, I'm just like, man, I gotta go harder, bro. So cause I didn't even plan on doing that. Everything just kind of just worked itself out. The car I had got the tripping, same issue I've been having with it, you know, for a while. I was like, man, I don't know if I want to put. I think they were trying to charge me like another like 800 or 1,000 to get it fixed. And then that Lexus, it wasn't the model that I wanted. It was the year, and it was I got an SC 430. I wanted the LS. But when I saw that the top goes down on it, I'm like, okay, no, this is the car that I want right here. So, like I said, man, I got a good deal. And I was like, man, I gotta have this car. So, but like I said, man, it just turned my hustle up, man. It just turned my hustle up.
I think stuff like that does turn your hustle up, and that's why sometimes it's for certain people. For me, I'm one of the people that it does that too. I find that when I wear this watch, I approach life differently than when I wear my other more conservative watches.
Yeah.
Your mindset elevates to your like the circumstances that you're in, which is why I tell a lot of people, like, you don't have to make folks struggle to make them go hard. Like some people, they can win just because that's just the way they're built.
Yep.
So you are in a better position now, but you're grinding harder. So does that mean that you needed to struggle to grind? No, I don't think so. I think the mentalities had to be right because there's always another level. And I'm pretty sure like you've experienced this. You're like, bro, like, let me see, let me elevate, let me upgrade this, let me elevate this, let me push through to the next level.
Yeah. And that's the next, that's my next goal, man. I'm trying to get I really want a penthouse really bad. Penthouse or just a luxury apartment or a loft or something like that.
What's the cost of living like in Austin?
Man, if you well no, so I got a 1-bedroom right now. I pay $950. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom.
Damn, that's good, man.
Yeah, but it's just me. Like I said, it's pretty cheap. But I think so. A high-rise apartment downtown Austin is like 2,500. So, because I remember I had did a notary signing. I think it was 2020 with the guy out there. I think it was like 37 something. I was like, man, like I don't want to get all in your business, man. But how much? Like what is your rent? Yeah. He was like, yeah, man, it's 2,500. And he said that, and I was just like, man, that's
how many bedrooms?
That's nothing. Well, I didn't have. I think it was just one. It was just one, but it was big though. It was spacious.
Yeah,
it's like, dang,
25 is doable.
24 hours doable. And then you looking outside and you just, the whole city is just right there. Whole city right there.
Which is another level of aspiration. Like when you get into that and you're looking at that, like you like, I got to go harder.
I got to go harder. Yeah.
It's interesting. I was watching TikTok and it was like, that's one thing that like black folks do when they walk in a nice spot and they're like, this is nice. It's like,
Yeah.
don't ask them this. Don't ask them. It's like, well, how much you pay for rent?
Man,
yeah.
I asked. I'm not even, man. If I'm curious, man, I'm gonna ask. What do you do? That was the biggest thing when I first became an entrepreneur. Man, ask everybody, man, what do you do? Like, what do you do? And luckily, I never freaked nobody out. Everybody was, just cool. Like, hey, man, I do such and such, or, So, but like I said, man, that stuff it's definitely inspiring.
I think that is important. It's important to be curious. It's important to ask people that. And I think some people might think that people will be weirded out, but a lot of them are proud of what they do. They get up every day and they do it. They want to kind of brag about it. They like talking about themselves and bragging about themselves. Even the Daniel Mack guy rolling up on folks, like asking them what they do for a living. They like that stuff. And you get to progress through it. Like I always talk about how I went to downtown San Diego and I'm walking through the different apartments. And I was asking her, I was like, what kind of people live here? And she told me, and that helped direct my vision. That helped him what I need to be focused on. Like, okay, entrepreneurship, blah, blah, blah. So that's cool. What is one tool that is indispensable in your business?
Indispensable, man. I would say my phone and my laptop. Phone and my laptop.
You work from anywhere then, pretty much. You have the ability to work wherever you are.
Wherever I'm at. I put it like this, man. The only time that I ever do in-person appointments is if I'm tired of sitting in this chair and I want to put on my nice watch and my blazer and my nice shoes just to look good. That's pretty much it. Other than that, I pretty much can do this from here, from a coffee shop. I can go to the park. Pretty much any. I could be in California.
You could be in California.
So, yeah, I don't know though, man. It's kind of expensive out there. Then again, man, I'll come out there, and I mean that would just be another inspiration to me. To look at something and they'd be like, "Yeah, man, rent here is like $4,000 a month." Mm-hmm. I'd be like, "What?"
Yeah. Like a studio apartment gonna hit you over the head. 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, they're gonna hit you over the head. It's nice. Weather's nice. You're around great people. I think Los Angeles definitely is an inspiration. It pushes a lot of the things that I do.
Hold up. So what do people in the hood do? Like do they just make more money? Like if you're working at, I don't know, let's say you're working at Popeyes in Texas, you might make $13 an hour. But over in California, they paying those people like $20 an hour.
I don't know. I didn't know they're paying $13 an hour So I didn't know they're paying $13 an hour to work at Popeyes in Texas. But what's interesting is they probably pay the same, if not less, in California. They'll mess around and pay you $11 an hour.
That's crazy. That person got to have like 5 roommates or something.
Well, that's what makes California retarded is they're so hard on businesses tax-wise that businesses can't pay that much.
Oh, okay.
But the cost of living is still high. So people are being squeezed. They're being squeezed from both ends. They are living with their parents for a long time. A lot of people still live with their parents. And they're just lucky because their parents might have lived there for a long time. So like my parents, when they bought their house, they paid $350 for it.
Okay.
It's nothing. $350 now it's worth like $750. Hey. And so the people whose parents live in a certain area, they can't afford to live where their parents live. And so what I would say is people in California just be struggling. And they be getting EBTs and they be getting all kind of benefits because that's the only way that they can exist. They still live with their parents. They can't move out. If they do, they probably got a bunch of people living with them. But I just don't know too many people that are out here just flourishing. A lot of people are just moving and pissed off.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Because I was like, man, how do people like, for example, like if you're in a nice area in the rent, or even if you in the hood and the rent for like a 1 bedroom is $1,500. I'm just like, man, how does somebody just do that? Like
they don't. They be a lot of folks live in the projects, man. A lot of people live in the projects, low income apartments, and it's just like legacy stuff that's just been sitting there, and so they can afford there because it's just been there for so long. So like, that's one thing that I would say. And then I mean, you have some people who are successful. They live in the city. They live in Hollywood. They live in the valley. They might live near the water. But a lot of folks just be broke and living in the projects. There's a lot of projects out here.
Okay.
I can't really think what a lot of Hispanics do is when they bunk up like crazy. So they got to
Even in
house everybody
Texas.
up in that house.
Yeah, even in
So
Texas,
that's
same
how
way.
they make it make sense. But black folks, we don't like to live together. We just don't know how to coexist. So
Yeah.
but let's wrap it up. Another good conversation. It's cool. We could do these all the time, man. We could always be talking about insurance. It's really important. We can talk about different current events with insurance. I'm trying to create a whole TV network. So I'm trying to create as much content as possible. I'm gonna be on TV all day, talking business, talking investing, talking all that stuff. We creating the Black CNBC. I'm not gonna let nobody beat me to the punch. I'm gonna create it and I'm gonna get it out there. I'm gonna always have this content for your face. So I gotta collaborate with dope people like you. You have your own podcast where we talking about different insurance companies and things like that, bringing on guests, talking about that stuff, talking about, what you were just telling me about how somebody thought they wouldn't get paid out. We're going to do it, man. We're going to build it because the bigger things we build, the better we get to live and the better we get to leave a legacy. So where can people find you? Where can they follow you? And where can they support what you have going on, man?
So on Twitter, my handle is BT Insurance CEO, and that's BT as in Brandon Thomas. On Instagram, it's just BT Insurance. I'm also on YouTube at BT Insurance TV. I think that's pretty much it.
I didn't know you're on YouTube.
Yeah, just man, Andre, man. After that Dallas event, I met Andre in the lobby at the Marriott. He was like, "Yeah, man, you got to get your YouTube page." So I just started my YouTube page. So there I just give like a lot of just game from a consumer point of view. When people like are in the process of buying insurance, just stuff to expect, different, knowledge and terms they need to know, stuff like that. So, but yeah, I'm real big on Twitter. Matter of fact, as soon as we're done with this, I'm gonna be recording another YouTube video. But
we
yeah,
got to find a way to collaborate and get you on the Black CNBC, man.
I'm down.
So my thinking is this. We can create a channel on the Black CNBC for you, and you can also have your channel. So you can post on your channel. We can also post it there, get you dual exposure.
I'm down with that.
Let's do it, man. Black CNBC. My name is Charles Oglesby. Make sure you tap in with this brother. I'm going to have all this information in the show notes. Make sure you support what he has going on. Make sure that you go to this brother for your insurance needs. And this brother only. He is the only official insurance broker for the Thai Capital companies. And he'll hook you up and give you a good price. It'll be quick and easy. You have no excuse not to have insurance. Please do not leave your kids out there struggling, and don't make your family run that GoFundMe. Also, shout out to Andre C. Hatchet in the building. He just tapped in.
Oh, yeah.
My name is Charles Oglesby, but you can call me Millionaire. This is another episode of the Millionaire Talk Show, and we are signing off.